No. Subject? Yeah,
For this
subject.
one?
Yeah.
For this podcast? Actually, hold on. Let me hit the intro. Mic check, mic check, mic check. I just do different versions of that every week. Or like every 2 weeks or whenever I do this. It's funny, like I'm supposed to. This is the best part about this podcast. Is like all my friends are like, yo, you need to do like a thing for the intro. I'm like, I usually do a mic check and then just ramble. And see where we end up after that. Like,
you're like, that is my intro, mic check.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Keep it simple.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I'm fucking In-N-Out, not McDonald's. That's what I always tell people. Because, you know, In-N-Out, keep it simple.
That's true.
And they're very successful and delicious. And McDonald's just went to the shit.
Like, me and my dad were arguing about McDonald's. First of all, it's hilarious because, like, people who aren't from the West Coast think that In-N-Out is going to be some sort of, like, burger Jesus. And it's not. It's a really good burger. Like, I like In-N-Out, but, like,
I love In-N-Out.
It's not, like, this life-changing, like, it's good, but, like...
I'm not gonna lie, I love In-N-Out.
I do, too.
I was like, I don't know, man.
I do, too.
I'm just like, what do you mean? And it is life-changing.
Well, people come from, like, okay, so at my job, we have people come from the Midwest, and they were like, oh, yeah, like, we heard the In-N-Out's incredible, and it's like, okay, it's good. Like, I
like the hype.
Exactly. Like, you overhype the hell out of In-N-Out, like, and shout out to California and people from California and people California adjacent who are so good at hyping up shit.
Like, I'm one of them. That's why I'm like, I don't know, man. I love In-N-Out. I do.
Like,
I fucking drive out of my way, and I don't have an In-N-Out by me. Like all In-N-Outs, I think they're about like maybe 20 minutes away, but I'll fucking drive.
Oh, I'll drive for an In-N-Out for sure. Like, I would love to drive for an In-N-Out, but, like, that's just the thing that it's just like, guys, I'm not sure what you're expecting here. Like, if you're expecting, like, the most incredible burger that's ever touched your taste buds, you might not be getting that.
No, yeah. It's just different.
It is.
It's just the flavor is different.
You
Because I've had some bomb-ass burgers, and I'm just like, well, I don't know, man. You know, like, compared to, like, In-N-Out, but it's just, like, the flavor.
You know what's funny? When I was in LA last, I got a burger in LA at an In-N-Out, and it tastes different than it does here. Yeah, I think it's got to be because the beef. Like, if the beef is coming from California and you're in California, it tastes different than if it's being shipped over. I think that's what it is.
It's more fresh.
Exactly.
Definitely. I feel like where I'm from, up in Watsonville, the Bay Area. The Bay Area. Strawberries, because you grow them there.
Yes.
You know, so like you get those strawberries. It's like now that is like heaven touching your lips. Like it's so good.
So I think I mentioned this too. Actually, I forgot to say, I'm with Jacqueline Trevino of Wonders with Skin.
Yes.
Business here in Arizona. I hate when I don't introduce people because like it happened a couple years ago when I first started coaching. I was coaching these kids and like they didn't know my name until like the last week of the season. They're just like, because like they just called me coach.
Yeah.
And they're like, and my dad was like, hey Braven, and I was like, hey, what's up? And they're like, hey coach, who's Braven? I'm like, me. They're like,
your name is.
Oh, okay, cool. Like
that is funny.
But no, Watsonville, strawberries.
Yes.
So I used to live in Monterey.
Okay.
And we would go out to like Salinas and Gilroy and like the strawberries out there, man, like because they have us like go strawberry picking and stuff.
Wait, did you pick them like part of like your job or
no, man?
You picked them like just to go get some free.
Here's the funny thing, man. Whoever owns these like groves and orchards and stuff, they're really out here tricking people into doing work for free, into paying for doing work.
like the labor, like how much they get paid? Because we could talk about that. Because we could talk about that.
No, we could talk about that. But like in a sense of like going to an apple orchard and paying to pick apples is hilarious.
Oh,
it's so funny to me.
I've never done that. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh yeah.
But I guess you could take because kind of like a farmer's market, but like literally raw. Like
right, and like so one of my friends on the East Coast. I was like, yo, what are you guys up to today? He goes, oh, yo, it's the first day of fall, so like, I'm taking my kids to go apple picking. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, yeah, it's a little expensive. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, it was like $100 for the whole family to go apple picking. I'm like,
they're selling it plus, or wait, is that part of the apples? Like you pay for the apples too?
Yes.
Separately?
We are in the wrong hustle, my guy.
I'm gonna wait separately,
yes.
like. I literally, so I have to pay for the apples, plus I have to pay to go fucking pick them.
Me and my mom? Was it my mom or my dad?
We are in some fucked up times.
It was me, my mom, and my brothers. We went to go peach picking down in was it Santan? Somewhere in that area. And we had like 4 bushels of peaches, which like you can't eat that many peaches.
No.
And I'm from Hawaii, so I grew up in a very tropical climate, like where we're used to like mango peach and like you have all these things.
Mango peach, that sounds delicious.
It is. And my mom's black, so like we had all the soul food and like the peach cobbler and all this shit. But after like a week, you're just like, hey man, we got a fucking shit ton of peaches, guys.
Do you want them? You start giving them away or selling them yourself?
Right, yeah. Now you're in the peach resale market. You're out here on the peach black market hustling. Hey bro, got a little bit extra.
$3. I picked them myself. I picked
like,
literally.
Who's your peach plug, bro? Like, shut up.
Going to Tucson, there's some trees out there like apples and stuff. Mm-hmm. And every single winter, when I used to drive over there, I would always want to stop, but not obviously there's no apples,
right?
Obviously, but just like the fog and how it looks. Like, have you ever been there? Like, especially in the Bay Area, like when you get up and like the fog is just like deep in the mountains.
So not that far north in the Bay, but like in Monterey. Oh my God, dude! Like
I would wake up to fog every day. Mm-hmm. Mostly every day, because we were like maybe 20 minutes away from the beach.
Yeah.
So, but see, like we used to, so going back to like the strawberry picking though, we used to go after the labor was done, and whatever they left behind, we would go and pick, because you're just like picking so fast that you leave pretty good fucking product,
Right.
So we would go and get like lettuce or strawberries. I picked up raspberries one time, and fuck no, like.
No, raspberry. No,
I thought it was gonna be so easy because I saw like my cousins doing it so fast, but they work on that for me. I'm just like, okay, I will go work the fields. No, respect for whoever works
really
there.
Really funny when you're like a city dude, and you do like some country work, because you just realize how hard people work like every day. You're like, yo, motherfuckers do this like often. Like my cousins, on my mom's side, they own a ranch in Tennessee, and like just hearing about the work that they're doing is like, we had to go do this. Then I had breakfast, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, like, and this is already by like 8:00.
Yeah.
And they had like so many things.
They like fed all the animals. They had to do this. I'm like, fuck, dude, that's.
What time do you get up? Like around 5:00 in the morning, 4:00. Fuck that. That's normally what time do they get up, like super early, so they can make sure. When I used to go to Wickenburg High School.
Oh, you was way out there.
Yeah, unfortunately that's where I graduated from. There's a lot of like fucking rancheros, like a lot of cowboys and shit. So they would, before they went to school, they had to get up super early and feed like the cattle and shit. And they would come in with like their cowboy boots, and they're not all dirty, but
that was the funny
somewhat.
Thing, because I lived in Anthem, and. Which, I mean, I know where Wickenburg is, pretty much. Like, I know where it is. And we had kids like that coming from New River. And it was funny because, like, there were some kids...
River?
Yeah.
Where's that at?
Just north of Anthem. And then Black Canyon is a little bit north of New River.
Okay. Okay.
But, like, when you go north to Flagstaff, if you're coming from Wickenburg, then you're, like, kind of parallel. But when you go north to Prescott, like, you pass Anthem and all that stuff. Like, when you go up to Prescott and Flagstaff.
Yeah. No, Wickenburg is west.
Yeah, like, what happens, like, especially if you go up to Vegas, like, you're parallel.
Oh, gotcha, understand. Okay, like going to Vegas. Yeah, because, yeah.
Because Wickenburg...
Literally, you have to go through Wickenburg.
Yeah, you do.
Well, not anymore, because...
Unless you do that thing where you go through...
The rich folks actually paid for that shit because they didn't want any traffic to go through the actual town, because it was making them...
It's a one-lane highway.
Because you know what? Before, back in the day, you would cross the town and then you would get the highway.
Yeah.
But now it's like a roundabout.
Okay, good.
So they paid for it because
it felt shitty driving through there, because I remember one time we went through there. This was maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
It's all nasty there.
And we there's an accident on the highway, but there's like 2 lanes through Wickenburg. So we were sitting there for like 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, especially especially like when you're passing the actual town. It's just one way.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's 25 miles per hour.
Which no one knows because they think that they're just gonna fly through it like we all fly
Yeah.
through Blythe.
Yeah,
Like when we
yeah,
drive to
literally.
LA.
You're like, shh. Courtside? Where was courtside? Oh,
I
you already fucking passed that shit a long time ago.
I got stuck in courtside one time. I was fucking terrified, man. Cause like
Got stuck like how?
I was driving back from LA, and I was driving back from LA, and I didn't run out of gas, but holy shit was I close.
Ooh.
So I pulled into a gas station in Quartzsite, and I was waiting on my pay because it was like I usually get paid like at that time I was getting paid like on Wednesdays, I think. Well, it was 1st and 15th, and I was like, but it was the military, so like it might have come at like midnight or it might come in the morning. Like it's gonna come on the 15th, but you don't know when. And so I pull up and I'm in Quartzsite and I'm fucking terrified. I'm so scared. And
Was it like at midnight?
it was late. It was real late. I don't like being out at night anyway. Like unless I'm like somewhere. I don't like just like wandering around at night because like, that's how you get in trouble.
Yeah.
And I pull up and I'm like, fuck it, let's see what happens. And I go and I swipe my card and it takes my card. And I was like, hold on, what? Because I only thought I had like $20 on my card. And I was like, and it like I just see it going like 20, 21, 22, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I pull out my app and I'm like looking, I'm like, oh, I thank Christ I got paid. Oh my God. Okay, good.
Dude, well, I'm like, well, back in the day, I don't know about now, but, well, you can't do it anymore, but back in the day, I used to do this shit because, like, I would wait, like, I'm waiting for Friday to get paid, but by Wednesday, I will, like, run out of gas ready, so I would run it as credit, and it will be pending for $1 only. So you could literally have $1 in your account, but fill your fucking tank for like $40 or whatever you need to, and they only take that $1. And then Friday hits, your pay hits, and then the transaction hits, so you're fine.
Yeah.
I used to find loops like that, like,
Well, and this is what I told.
so bad.
And this is what I told my brother. Be broke one good time.
I've been there.
Learn how long.
I was like, I'm there.
Learn how long $20 gets you when you got to buy food. Learn how far, like, hey, McDonald's is not the cheapest option, Brody. Like, learn how far that gets you. You know, kind of teach yourself what you need to do and how you can do the things you want without breaking the bank. Like, when you learn how to do that, I think it makes you a lot better at what you're trying to do.
Yeah, just humbles you, and you become more grateful and
Like, so
better human.
you do.
I'm a
You
better
do.
human.
And the thing that me and my dad were talking about last night, the thing that sucks the most is when rich people is when poor people get money and then they forget where they came from.
Yeah. You know what? I was just thinking about that. I'm not sure if actually when I was driving over here or last night when I was driving home, that I kind of like stand back because I was talking to some other girl, like just being grateful and not really comparing yourself like to others. Yeah. Because this guy asked me how old I was, and I told him, it's like, I'm 34, but like I make it a face, you know, kind of like, oh, you know. And then he's like, why do you make a face, or why do you say it that way? And I'm like, I just feel like I'm 34. I have a couple more like months to be 35, and I'm not comparing myself to anyone, but then again, it's like kind of like you see the younger generation, or you see like people your age in a different stage, so you're like, wait a minute, am I fucking doing something wrong? Or like, these kids are fucking millionaires already. Or I see a lot of like a lot of other vendors that they have help with their like pop-ups, they have their husbands, they have their families there, or you know, they have some type of support. And and by no means like am I playing the fucking petty game, but I just like stay back and I'm just like, damn, Jacqueline, you're doing this shit by yourself.
Yeah.
like these people, like, or they also have their 9 to 5. Like, you don't have any of that shit. Like, the only thing is, like, thank God you live with your mom. And if you don't have money to pay rent that month, you're not gonna get kicked out. You know, like, that's like the only. But besides that, I'm just like, you really understand living like $1 a day, or living like you only have $20 to your name until fuck, I don't even know when. And that's all like true. And then you forget where where the struggle was once you once you come up with like a little bit of money and shit.
And I feel like sometimes we bring it on ourselves, like, because I know personally, like, if I have money left over after I pay bills, I'm like, all right, cool, I'm gonna blow it. And I mean,
that's what I would do.
It is a bad habit on one hand, but on
Gucci,
the other hand,
here I come.
For real, you have no idea how much Billionaire Boys Club and like, I was like, how much money do I got? How much are those sunglasses? $150. Bet. All right, cool. Pull them, like,
Pocket change. No.
Well, and it's not, but it feels weird to have money left over, because you're so used to like, all right, I paid all my bills, and how much money do I got left? $20.82. Cool. All right. Like,
what could I do with that shit?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, and it's more of a systematic, obviously, that has been embedded into us for so many fucking years, and I think we talked about it, like, for like coming just, and I know I'm not the only one, but we were not born with the fucking silver spoon. You had to you have to work for what you have. And even though like a lot of generation right now, like people my age, they're the first generation, they're having their own business, or
right.
graduating from and being like successful on whatever, bringing in that money, type of thing. But you see the parents or the family, and they don't understand, or they don't see the vision, because especially us Hispanics, well, these Mexicans, they just talk shit, period. Like, ooh, see, how many fucking people are doing that shit, or like they just, it's called like carrilla, te dan carrilla, they're just like bullshitting you, like, but at the same time, they're just belittling you, like, oh, you like that real, like, oh, you still got that little business, bitch? What do you mean little? Like,
yeah.
No, don't belittle me, or don't, be supportive. Like, hell yeah, you're gonna be doing, do good or whatever. So us as Hispanics, at least, I know we deal with a lot of that, or that money issue, kind of like, well, we don't got money for that. Oh no, ooh, do you have any money saved? Like, why are you gonna gamble all your money on yourself, on your business, like, and it's just like that doubt, which you have to work on.
And that's the hard thing too, because like it's very funny, because I see two sides of it, because I'm mixed. So like, when you look at my dad's side of the family, my granddad was a electrician for 20 years. So like he, and they did well for themselves. But you look at my mom's side of the family, and it was like, they moved from Tennessee to the south side of Chicago, to another neighborhood in Chicago, like in the city, to the suburbs of Chicago, and like you saw the constant, and one of the things that is interesting is that, like, I was telling my mom, was that like, because she was talking about like how when she moved around, it was hard for her because they moved to a predominantly white area, which is kind of funny because that's how she met my dad. But they moved to a predominantly white area, and she was like, I don't get why people do that. And I was like, well, Mom, just go back, and we don't even got to go to like a history book. Go back to the Jeffersons, and they're talking about moving on up to the east side. And that's the thing, is that like for years we thought that getting out of the hood, and I'm not from the hood, so I don't really like saying this because I'm not from the hood. I grew up on military bases, but for years black people have been taught, get out of the hood, get out of the, go to the suburbs, move to the hills, whatever like that. And now I think there's kind of a movement of like, now that we're seeing how people get gentrified, now that we see that, like, why is there a stadium in fucking Brooklyn? Why is, Brooklyn no longer black? Why is Inglewood, the Rams playing Inglewood, which is crazy. Like, you tell somebody 30 years ago that there's going to be an NFL stadium in Inglewood, bro. You know what I mean?
Like, no, you're gonna get second shot. Good luck coming in.
Exactly, yeah.
Good luck coming in, bro.
But I think in I was talking to my dad last night about how like Nipsey was kind of the blueprint of like, gentrify your own neighborhood, like build yourself and your people up, and then you can move on to other things. And I think that like the black community is starting to see like, hey, we need to do our own shit, and like our own shit isn't just sneakers. Like, hey, we were talking about Dr. Dre earlier, Beats by Dre. Yo, shout out to you making headphones, but know what? Shout out to True Detergent, who's a black-owned laundry detergent company. Like, when you think about that shit, like, hold on, these like buy black batteries, buy black toilet paper, buy black, or whatever your community is. Mm-hmm. But I think that's the way that people are saying, like, no, we can do this ourselves.
Yeah. Supporting your community and supporting your well, for me, it's like support your own kind, but just support your community, whatever is your community, because for me, like, I feel like my community is everyone. It's not, I'm not gonna lie, like, if I go to a farmer's market and there's just like a lot of white folks, like, I don't really fuck with that shit.
Right.
And then it's just me, because I understand and I see what the story goes behind it, and knowing like my fucking people are picking up your strawberries, your honeydew, cantaloupe, like all of that shit at 120 degrees, being risked to get bitten by snakes, by spiders, by rats, and they have no insurance because obviously we all know that they don't have papers, but they're trying to make a better life. So just like, and then not only that, coming from the Bay and coming from like a very big agricultural community, and that's what you grew up with, like you see all the fucking work that they put in. It's like, you should be getting paid more. You should be like,
oh my God.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I rather spend my money on someone that someone like that, like right. A vendor, that is more connected than someone that paid to the penny to, you know what I mean? Like that, yeah. Traded. I don't know. It's just, and that's how a lot of people are now. Like, especially I feel like with all the movement that's been happening, and everything that happened, obviously, like during the pandemic of the movement of like the, Black Lives Matter and everything, like it shook not just obviously the black community, but it shook everyone in their own community too. Like, bro, like we need to fucking wake up and become united, like
it's crazy that Build the Wall and Black Lives Matter were happening in the same year. And everyone was, and like the coolest thing was that like everyone was like, hey, this shit is, and like attacks on Asians and stuff, like all of them were happening in the same year. And everyone was like, this shit is fucked, right?
Well, yeah, there's still children in cages as we speak. And it's like, how is this okay? And I mean, and I was talking to another girl, and she's like, what could we do? And even my friend, we were even talking about like vaccination or whatever, and everybody has a lot of opinions, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like, it just sucks. It's like, what fucking freedom do you really have that I can't leave the States? I can't even get on a fucking airplane now and travel if I don't have this junk in me. Like, just when you're a little bit more aware of the situation and aware what's going on in life, you just doubt a lot of, you don't trust, especially when it comes from like the government, pharmaceutical companies. Like, come on, yo.
And that's the weirdest thing about the whole pandemic and the vaccination, and like,
it's part of all the fucking New World Order. If you want to get real,
the weirdest part about the whole thing too is that like, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh well, this whole thing was planned. I was. The weird thing is though that like, and maybe this might be. I was thinking about this too the other day. First of all, black people have been kind of institutionalized to not trust the government, and I think,
because they've been getting fucking screwed.
And I think it extends to a lot of minority groups too. I think a lot of Hispanics. I think a lot of, like, you're kind of taught like, yo, like they fucked us over for years. But at the same time,
and they taught us also how to be fucking dependent on them,
yes.
And that's why they keep us on the areas that they keep us. That's why we cannot succeed in life, because it's just the oppressor keep on fucking oppressing.
And I think that here's the thing. Here's the weirdest thing about this, and this is why I keep trying to tell people. Let's say the pandemic, just going with the whole pandemic happened, right? I don't personally think that they plan that, or this is like a fake thing. Get vaccinated, do your thing. I've said this on this podcast for years, or for months. Get vaccinated, that way you can travel, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
At the same time, do I doubt that they are using this as precedent? No, that's definitely being used as precedent. That's definitely something where it could be something in the future. There could be something in the future where this is, a thing where they're like, hey, well, we can just lock this country down. We can do this. We can do this. Because now we're seeing...
We allow them.
Do you realize how effective they were at locking this country down?
That's exactly what we're talking about. She's like, have you ever fucking seen getting the freeway? Because I experienced it, getting like the curfew, and they literally would close it down.
Yeah.
Well, I would get off of Glendale because I live on Glendale, but I couldn't even get off because the Tanger outlets are there, and that's when the riots were happening, and it's just like a fucking chaos. It's like, but that's kind of going back and just being humbled and being grateful at one point too, because I was even thinking like me trying to figure out a way to get home, and then that fear that they put in you, like you better be home, if not then they're gonna pull you over.
Right.
My niece, she's 5 years old, she's mixed, she's half black and half Mexican, and her dad went out just to go get milk for them to Walmart, which is like down the street, and she was so terrified at 5 years old because she kind of like knows and he was hearing in the news what's going on to the black males, or just being black period, and then all this shit going on, like she was terrified because her dad was probably not gonna come home. And see, like that, for me, I'm just like, that is not okay. Because you're putting that fear, and then plus on a child, and then as a man of color, that's even more fear, plus all the years of fearness that's been going on. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like...
And it's funny because, like, it's so hilarious to see people now who are like, guys, the system, like, we can't keep doing this. And we're like, yeah, we've been saying that since like,
because you're barely like, it's been talked about more in your face. You're like,
my mom taught us the whole, like, so for us it was a little bit different. We never had that formal, this is what you do with police, but it was always like, hey, listen, yes or no, sir. Mm-hmm. Keep your hands before it was keep your hands attended to. Now it's put your hands up. Don't, like, if you ever get pulled over, put your hands up. Don't.
Oh, I still put them in my steering wheel.
Yeah, well, for me,
you're like, well, it's different, yeah.
I got pulled over the other day, and when he pulled me over, license, registration, I didn't have my insurance card, like, open, because I didn't know they asked for that now. They do. So, yeah, license, registration, insurance.
Yeah.
They never asked me for it, but, I mean...
I always get asked.
I always got license, registration, please. All right, cool, here you
go. Yeah.
So, once I gave that to him, hands back up, because one thing we're not about to do is get shot coming home.
Yeah. I was about to say, like, you don't... It's just so... I mean, I laugh because it's so stupid. Like, instead of feeling safe with the police, you feel a lot more in danger.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you fear for your fucking life.
Yeah, and like
hands down. I fear for my life.
And it's hilarious to hear, like, my white family say things like, yeah, it was kind of dangerous, so we called the police. I'm like, and made it more dangerous?
Right, for that person, because they're going to get judged.
Like, so one thing I had to drill my brother on this a little bit, just because he didn't know, but a friend of his was suicidal, and my brother called the cops, and I was like, okay, listen, in theory, you did the right thing. Mm-hmm. Don't ever fucking call the cops when somebody's suicidal. And he's like, why not? Like, who would I call? But you should call, like, medical services, because here's the thing. The cops don't hear suicidal. The cops hear armed and willing to kill. Yeah. And he's like, that makes sense. Yeah. But it was his first time he ever gone through anything like that, and this was like, I found out about it like 5 years after it happened. So I was like, he was young. He had no idea what the fuck he was doing.
Right.
So,
he doesn't
know.
But
that's why you have to tell people. You know what I mean? Like, that's why, like, now he knows. Yeah. It's not like I was like, oh, you fucking dumbass. You could have. I was just like, yo, in the future, just know.
Yeah, like that could have happened, or it could have escalated. I know, and I follow, actually, she's a local artist, and she has a mural at the Churchill, behind the Churchill. La Morena. I don't know if you've seen her art, or...
Well, if it's at the Churchill, then
yeah. Yeah, she's the painting of the Native American of the Missing Sisters.
Yes.
So I follow her, like, I've been following her since, I don't know, for a while. And I was watching her stories how at Barnes and Noble, her son was getting followed, and like when you're getting followed.
Is he Mexican?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think I'm not sure if she's 100% Mexican or she's native and Mexican. I'm not 100% sure, but
she's brown though. She's not.
Yeah, she's brown. Yeah, and obviously, like my cousin, if you look at him, you think that he's like in a fucking gang or something, but it's not like that. Like he's a family man. Like he's
like, I just really like tattoos. All right.
No,
like,
no, he's not even tatted up.
What?
Like, and he's not bald, but just the demeanor.
I feel
you. Like it's just you're gonna judge real quick, But that's what society has taught you to do, to fucking judge right away, But anyway, so she talks about it like how right away as Mama Bear, she was like, fuck that, like let me talk to like la da 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 da, and the son was like, Mom, let's talk about this, like whatever, let's ignore it, let's just like regroup, calm down, and like write a letter, or something, be more. I guess you have to fight fire with fire. It's just like you're fighting,
point,
like you're not gonna, even though your reaction just fires you up because you're tired of fucking getting treated that way,
Right.
So, but she's like, no, what is the white folks do? They fucking write a letter or whatever to the CEO and make it known and then bring in the fucking news and then make it that way. She's like, and then she fucking went on social media, she wrote the letter, and she like let them know that she didn't appreciate that type of treatment, So for me, it's like, I applaud people across the board. Like, you need to stand up for, don't act up the way that they expect you to act up, it's just smart, be
right.
the smart way, like cop pulls you over, yes or no sir, whatever, and then you can cuss them out as soon as you take off.
Because here's the thing, and my friend said it to me about something I don't want to talk about on the podcast, but I was like, yo, because I'm very like, yo, fuck you, that's not how we're doing this, fuck this shit, I'm out. I'm very much like that. And she's like, who's talking right now? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, is this your ego talking? I was like, yeah. She goes, listen, man, ego will, because my buddy said it in a slightly different way, but she's like, ego will get you fired. And she's like, if you start doing this and you start acting out and you start doing this, and this, which is what I'm kind of like, if I don't like something, I'll let you know. And if I don't see a change, I'm fucking out. And she's like, that's the kind of shit that gets you fired. And my buddy, me and him were talking one time, he's like, yo, that's the kind of shit that gets you killed, dog. And the thing is, so, story I always tell. I was in LA. I went to Tyler Creators Festival. And
I don't know what is, like just music or
yeah,
what is
it was music, art, all encompassing. It's a really dope festival. It's one of my favorites. And have you've been to LA? You know where Exposition Park is?
I'm not super familiar. I'm more like, no, I don't.
So Exposition Park is, here's the thing that they don't tell you about LA. When you go to the Coliseum, right, like where the Chargers and the Ramses play, where USC plays, like the hood is like, South Central's like the next block down.
Yeah.
There's like a park and then you're in South Central. I didn't realize that about LA. Like LA like has a lot of sketchy ass areas that like,
yeah, definitely,
they just do shit in because they're like, fuck it, Like me and my brother went to see Gorillaz in Inglewood. And like the second the concert was over, I'm like, yo, we don't belong here because we're not from here. We need to go.
Yeah.
But I was in LA, go to this festival, and I jumped on the wrong train. To this day, I'm not 100% sure where I was at, but I've talked to a bunch of guys from LA, and I have an idea. And there's 2 dudes and 3 girls. And I'm in full vacation mode. I'm like, hey, you guys, I'm just trying to get back to where I'm staying.
You're all nice and shit.
Oh, super nice.
A total, like,
super vacation
child with a
Braven.
lollipop.
Oh, yeah, like, I'm in, like, full Hawaii mode. Like, I'm chilling. And I'm like, yo, I'm just trying to get back to where I stay. Y'all from here? I'm just trying to, I don't want to bother you. And he turns around, he's like, what'd you say? And I was like, no, I'm just seeing, like, if you guys can help me get back to, like, where I'm staying at. And he's like, where are you from? And I was like, what? And then it's funny because if you go to LA,
and they ask you that,
there are certain places.
You better fucking know.
Number one, that.
Yep.
Number 2, there's not a lot of places where Mexicans feel comfortable saying nigga in LA. And so when he turned around, he's like, nigga, where are you from? And immediately I went straight back to like, oh shit. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, I'm not from here, dog. He's like, where are you from, though? And I was like, my guy, I'm not from here. Like, nigga, where are you from, though? And I'm not saying I'm Billy Badass, fucking, you know, the hardest motherfucker or anything. But I was like, there was 5 people standing in front of me. And I'm like, yo, I can just sneak one dude and take off. And get back on the train at least. Like, I don't know where it's going to take me, but I'll at least be back on the train. I might end up in Long Beach, but fuck it, I'll be back on the train. And
this is like an action movie.
Right, and I'm like kind of planning this because I'm in the Army at the time, and I'm like kind of planning this. I'm like, yo,
my escape.
I'm not trying to go to fucking jail though. If I duff this dude, I'm like, let me just stay cool. And he goes, where are you from, dog? I'm like, I'm not from here. And now we keep going back. And then now the 2 dudes kind of like spread out on either side of me, and the 3 girls get behind me.
What?
And I'm like,
the girls win in it too.
Okay.
Those are G's.
And this is what scared me because I'm like, shit. I'm like, yo. And I'm just hoping to God, I'm like,
girls are like
please don't have the girls spit razor blades here. Because I've heard of that shit in LA and New York where the girls got razors in their mouths. I don't want to deal with that shit.
Or they fucking pull them out of their like scrunchy and shit.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, don't let me get fucking cut in LA, man.
Dude, back in the Bay, our shit. Well, I was too chicken. I was just able to do like 2 moves, but like with the butterfly knives, like that shit was. That was a thing.
See, and I'm not trying to deal with that. I'm not trying to get cut after a fucking music festival.
You're
by
taking
3
me
chicks
back
with
to my
butterfly
days.
Knives, man. I'm not trying to deal with that shit.
No,
so,
yeah, you're like, I was just having a good time.
Right.
Man.
Like, yo, come on. I just saw Kid Cudi. You think I'm trying to get cut after Kid Cudi? Like, shut up. And so one of the girls goes, oh, I recognize that jacket at the festival. I'm like, yes. Yes, I was at the festival. And the dude goes, and it's funny because the question changes when the tone changes. He just kind of looks at me, he's like, dog, where are you from? Which is very different than dog, where you from?
Right,
it's a very different question. I'm like, my guy, I'm not from here. I'm staying in Hollywood for the weekend. I'm here for the festival. And he's like, the fuck are you doing here? I'm like, I don't know.
I'm lost. That's why I'm asking you for guidance.
And he goes, wait a minute. And he's like, so you're not from here? I'm like, yeah. He's like, why the fuck are you talking at, like, asking people where they're from? I'm like, dog, I forgot I was in LA for a second. And he's like, bet, got you. And here's the thing that was scary. I'm not scared of the hood. The hood, most of the time, is people barking. Just keep walking or get out if you don't know anything about it. Just get to where you're supposed to be and keep it moving. Don't stop moving. 9 times out of 10, that's what it is.
Don't talk back.
What exactly? And there's that ego thing.
Yeah.
But what scared me this time is that this is LA on a Saturday night at 2 in the morning, and there's no lights on.
No lights?
No lights on. It's not. I'm looking down this street. Nothing.
I
have no fucking idea.
If there's no lights, then you are in a very dangerous place.
I know that because I'm like, what?
Because I've never even been there, and I feel like
I'm like, where the fuck am I, man?
I love shit like that. But
I'm like looking around, like, where the fuck am I? I don't see no street signs. I don't see no.
Did
lights
you even
on,
see the
nothing.
city near?
No.
Damn, how much? Like, how long did you travel?
I think I was in East LA. Like, I think I was in one of the barrios because. I was like,
I've been to East LA, but not at that time.
So and he comes up to me, he goes, listen, man, go ahead and call your son. And he's like, yo, get back on the train. Because I went on the blue line. If you look at the map, it goes through like East LA. And like goes up to like
I don't fuck with that shit, to be honest. I'm too scared.
Bruh.
I'm too skinny for that shit, you know?
So he's like, yo, here's what you're gonna do, get back on the blue line. He's like, fuck that shit, actually. Call you a fucking Uber, get the fuck out of here before somebody fucks you up. Cool, bet. So I leave.
He's like, you know what? Let me just make it easier for you.
Yeah, I leave, and I'm like, my dumb ass should have called fucking Uber. And I leave, and I see him the next day at the festival. He's straight up. I see him in line. He's buying drinks, and he goes,
"Oh shit, he
oh
was
shit,
there.
You're alive, bro.
You made it out of the hood, man."
Yo, when I say that his drinks were free that day,
oh my gosh,
I spent like $200 on drinks. Weren't even for me. I was just like, yo, here.
You know what? I just felt like a relief after at the end. You're like, I saw him. We're cool. We're best friends, actually. I have a spot in the hood now.
We were dope. No, I'm never that. But you know something? I actually did meet like really a dude out there. He we call him Josie. His name is Josimar. We call him Josie though, just because reasons. But it was funny. I met him the first year. We just hung out together. Him and now his ex-girlfriend and his best friend at the time. He flew down from Alaska. And I was like, how the fuck is there a Josimar in fucking Alaska, and he goes, "Oh, yo, I'm from LA, but my dad is crazy, and my mom wanted to get away from him, so she moved to LA or Alaska."
Oh shit,
like,
she really like moved.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, like how crazy do you got
Yeah.
My
really
goal as a man is to never have a woman feel like she has to move to
Right.
Alaska.
Shit, she was like not even on the other side of the world, like somewhere that is cool as fuck that most likely you're not gonna come and
Yeah,
look for me. Like
he was like, bro, like, but we actually met the first day we went to the festival. The next time I was like, yo, you going to the festival? He's like, yeah, I think so. I'm not sure though. I was like, all right, cool, I'll be there. We ran into each other, like in line. I was just like, Josie, and he's like, Braven, what the fuck is up, dude? We've been chilling. Like he came out here, like he flew out to to Arizona. And we saw a concert. I'm thinking
wait, where
about
do you
going to
meet
see
this
him
guy?
at a music festival.
Oh, it's another one
Yeah,
that you met.
we just like.
I was like, wait, is this a gangster? Did you ever get the gangster's name?
Never.
That's cool though.
Nope.
It's all good.
Don't need it. Don't need it.
I love it.
Don't need it.
You know what? The only time that I've been around, I guess truly, they'll be like, oh shit, like she's about to get real. Because like in high school was like, I got threatened in church.
Yo.
One time this girl, she goes, hey, you think putting a fucking cuete down your neck is funny? Like, and she had like the whole gangster accent. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what the fuck is a cuete in the first place? Like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And it's a gun, like, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? She's like, yeah. Long story short, we were at lunchtime. Obviously, we were in high school. And we were laughing. Our group of friends were laughing. And you already know what gang members live where. Or sometimes what streets,
Yeah.
So, like, like, this is the North Sider house. The South Siders don't live there. They live, like, in a different place. Anywho, the Sureños were running. We were laughing. So they thought that we were laughing at them. But we were laughing at our own
Yeah, you're
bullshit.
doing your own thing.
Yeah. And it was just like coincidence. So homegirl thought, like, so she hit me up. She's like, you think it's fucking funny? And I guess someone pulled a gun on them. But we didn't, you know what I mean? So it was just like, what are you talking? So yeah, so homegirl fucking threatened me, and I was just like, first of all, I don't know, and that's probably the ego thing part, but it's like, you don't fucking threaten me. And like, if you're gonna do something, do something. If not, then if shit, like, really, if I could, like, it's not gonna be me. It's gonna be you. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day. So anyway, so I remember I call homegirl, and she's like, oh yeah? Okay, cool. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. And her sister, she was a fucking baddie, dude. Homegirl was a baddie. Like, she'll fight you, like, and probably take you down. Like, homegirl was nuts.
And that's
like,
the thing. Like, I don't need it.
So she,
I don't need to fight chicks that want to
that's
fight
how
me.
psycho.
Like, I'm good.
I mean, I should not say psycho. That's how, like, yeah, like, I not giving a fuck. Like, you fuck with my little sister, homegirl. All right, like, you don't fucking come over here and threaten shit. Like, so she went in.
You want those guys on your team?
Yeah, definitely. She did back me up a lot because I'm small, so they always like fucking picked on me and shit. So I'm just like, but I never got in a fight. That's a crazy thing.
Because you got everybody else to do it.
Yeah.
It's boss shit.
I got the. I mean, I didn't mean to,
Like
but they were
Godfather
just
over here,
like.
right?
They were just like.
Fucking
she's
Don
small.
Jacqueline over here. The fuck. Like,
She's small. Don't pick on her. But I mean, like, I stood my ground. Like, yeah, bitch. Like, let's go at it. But a lot of the times I've been more of a. Definitely now I'm like a lover, not a fighter.
it's funny when you become peaceful because I'm like, I'm usually, like I said, I'm usually that dude who's like, I've gotten in a bunch of fights. There's a couple scars on my hands just from getting in fights. I got like, just almost everywhere I've been, there's been like, all right, yo, let's go. And I fought like 3 years ago, and I'm like, I'm too old for this shit. Because it kind of hit me like.
But what is it? Because like they see you like you're big, you intimidating, like.
People think I'm more people think I'm more intimidating than I try to be. I never really try to be intimidating. It's just like shit that smaller people can get away with, I can't get away with. Example. I'm at Valley Bar and I'm wearing a white tee, camel pants, white shoes, and a bandana. It's not even like a flag or anything. It's like a floral bandana because I'm from fucking Hawaii. And I'm walking and I'm just going to the bathroom and this girl comes around the corner. She doesn't see me. She looks and she's like, oh shit. And she like jumps. And at first I want to be like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? And then I thought for a second, I'm like, all right, no, I can kind of see it. Never mind. But like a skinnier dude who's like, you know, who's like a little bit shorter of a dude, he can get away with dressing like that. Like it's just, I don't even want to call it a double standard because it's like the way I'm dressed right now, the all black, and like people are gonna look at me a certain type of way, and it's just like you can either not care about it, or you can try to change it. And for me, I'm like, I don't really care about it.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck how people perceive me.
Like to a point, like I was talking to my dad the other day. There's I'm actually supposed to be doing a podcast with her soon, but there's I was at the I don't want to throw out the name because I don't like telling people where people work, but I was at the bar right next to where you set up for First Fridays. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one. And I walk in and I was like, hey, yo, let me get some of this, let me this. And I'm talking to the bartender, and there's a new bartender, and I was like, hey, what's up? Nice to meet you. You must be new. And that bar is all females, all women. I blame the army for me saying females. I still say females and males just because I'm like.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't take. People take offense to that.
I heard someone get offended, and I understand why. She goes, "We're not animals." Like because people say like men and females. I'm like, that's gross. Like men and females is gross. Like don't say that. It sounds mad weird. Okay. Like we're not fucking animals. And I was like, all right, I get that. But like in the army, you were either a female soldier or a male soldier because we had like two Johnsons, and I was like, all right, Johnson, which one, female or male? Male Johnson. All right, cool. Hey Johnson, like which one? Male. All right, cool. Male type. Male type. That's what it was.
Male type.
Male type or female type.
Like, and so it's just.
But when I walked in, she was like, "Oh no, don't worry about him. He's good." And I was like, you know how like, as a man, do you know like how encouraging that is for someone to like acknowledge like, nah, he's all right.
Yeah.
Like yo, don't worry about him. Like he's not a threat.
Yeah.
Like he won't do anything crazy. Like he's literally here just to eat these banging ass ribs and these banging ass noodles and drink fucking way too many Doritos.
But I'm sure as a male
male type.
As a male type, I'm sure also like females, because I also like say girls or females. Like I go back and forth to that, so I'm just like I don't feel offended or anything. But anyways, I'm sure like you feel like they open up a lot, like that trust kind of goes in. Like okay, if she says that, it's kind of like what my friends like that sisterhood, like that code. Like oh no, he's good. Like.
Because her vibes, like I'm a Pisces, so I read vibes and read minds, and that's all I do.
I read minds and talk shit.
Yeah, read minds and talk shit. That's 90% of my life. But her vibes immediately, like she relaxed. Shit. Like you saw the tension, then she's like, no, she's good. Or, no, he's good. And like immediately the tension was like, it was gone.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting just to see that happen like in real time.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like most of my tattoo artists are women, and you definitely feel the nervousness when you're like, hey, my name is so and so, and like
very hesitant.
It's all business though. For me, like it's all business.
Yeah, it is.
And we talked about that like a long time ago. It's like, yo, listen, if it's about business, it's about business. If it's something else, it's something else. Like, but for me, like it makes things easier for me if I'm just like, yo, this is business right now. That's why I have the 2 accounts. Because if it's personal shit, I'll hit you up on the personal Instagram, or I'll like hit you up on your personal number. If it's business shit, I'm hitting you up on the business one. That way there's not that weird, like...
It's that good boundary.
Yeah.
And that's something that we've talked about a lot, like setting those boundaries with yourself, with other people. It's very important, and then it's going to give you obviously that balance, and then if you don't have that balance, then we get all fucked up. And it's hard. Like, it's really hard keeping fucking balance, period, you know?
Especially when it does come to, like, work. And because if you think about it, the people that you work with, you're around more than most people.
Yeah, and then you carry... I mean, for me, at least, I would pick up their fucking bullshit. And I'm just like, no, I don't want to.
And now you start, like... that's why, like, dating people from work is so weird. Because it's like, on one hand, you see them all the time. On the other hand, you see them all the fucking time, man.
I learned that never fucking... shit where you eat. Never. Like, it just does not work out. Like, it just doesn't. I had that shit, and it was it was just not good. It was just like not good at all. I don't know.
You gotta keep that shit, even if it's not completely separate. Like, you have to find a way to be like, no, we're at home now. Because like my mom and dad work at the same place, but they, number one, they've been married for 20 something, almost 30 years. Number two, they don't work in the same department.
I was about to say, like, do they even see each other?
I mean, now they do because they're working from home, which like,
yeah, it's different.
so it's like
now a little bit different. Now
his
they're
dad,
like, fuck,
hey,
I have
Mom,
to deal
where's
with
Dad?
you.
He's in his office. I'm like, where's it, like his office? Yeah, the other bedroom. And I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. like, you know.
They have to keep that balance. And I mean, once again, even in a relationship, you have to, because I'm 34 years old. Confession time. Confession time. I'm 34 years old, and I only been in two. Well, if you count that as a rebound, I guess would be 3. But let's not count that because it was a rebound.
So anything before high school or anything high school and up to high school doesn't count.
Yeah, I'm not even counting those. Like, not, those, como si tuviera mucho. I didn't even fucking date it.
Yo, listen, I don't understand a ton of Spanish, but I understand something.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't even fucking date it or anything. My mom was like a super hardcore, like, Mexican Catholic. I couldn't even say the word boyfriend, type of shit. So that's how hardcore she was.
I gotta go to confession, man. Like you said, boyfriend.
Yeah. So as soon as I turned 18, I dated this 25-year-old from Chicago, from the West Side, and so he was like in gangs and shit. That's when I was talking about, like, that's when I experienced like real shit, like when talking about
my
the
family's
hood.
from Chicago, and I know about the West Side, bro. Like,
and
we don't go to the West Side. like,
my heart is just racing just by thinking about like all those. I would get chased and shit, like guns were pulled and stuff. I remember I got a ride for New Year's because I worked retail, and like I was smaller. I feel like I was 18 years old, and I go to Maryville. I think it was Maryville. You go to the hood, and there's all these fucking gangsters and shit, and I grew up with wannabe fucking gangsters. It was high school shit. Like, this is not real shit, like.
right.
So me, like, seeing it for, like, real, and they're drinking and, whatever. And it was my first time spending the holidays away from, like, my family. Mm-hmm. So it was, like, literally ripping completely, like, an attachment. Anyways,
You're like, hey, welcome, like, hey, this is adult life. Hang out with some GDs or some VLs, like.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I fucking went into the bathroom. I cried a couple of tears because I felt so, like, as a child, like, I don't know. I was just like, this is kind of some scary shit. Like, I was never exposed to something like that, I guess. So, and then not only that, like, I was probably playing, like, the victim. Like, I'm not with my family. I'm with these fucking strangers. Like, I don't even know who the fuck they are. They don't even know me. Like, if anything goes down, like, I just didn't have a good vibe. I don't know. But anyways, I was like, yo, like, I was telling the person I was dating at the time, and I was like, I need to go home. Like, I need to go home. Like, I need to work, I'm being responsible. I was a very responsible 18-year-old. So he gets a ride because he doesn't fucking have a car, of course.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And these two guys and a girl are chilling on this, like, old school, like, Cadillac.
Also sounds about right.
I mean, like, and then they're like, he's like, get in, and it's just so sketchy to me. I'm just like, I don't feel right, like. And I'm just praying, to be honest, because my ancestors, I don't know, my arcane, I don't know who, but they were just like, girl, you're going to get home safe, but this is some sketchy shit. Like, And anyways, we're going down on 59th and Olive on Northern, New Year's. So someone pulls up next to us, and they're drunk, 2 white boys. They're like, whoa, Happy New Year, da 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 da. The guy just fucking stares at him, right? And just doesn't even say a word. And I'm just like, oh shit. Like, I just fucking felt something. And the girl, she's like, you want the gat? It's just like straight up, like, you want the gat? And she just pulls and fucking clocks it. Like, I was just like, is she really just gonna about to fucking shoot his ass just because he said Happy New Year's? Like, and then she's like, and he's like, no, just chill. Like, it was just super low. But for me, it was like, I know what you guys are talking about. And homeboy, he was just like, this is totally normal. And for him, it's just like, this is not okay, like, for you to roll, especially if you're like a fucking felon already. All of you motherfuckers.
Yeah, probably a lot.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if we get pulled over, and they got fucking pulled over right after they dropped me off. So, I don't know. It's just like dealing shit like that, like putting my life like that. I'm just like, is this really worth it? Is this really worth it?
I don't. Yeah.
No, it's not.
And it's like,
no, it's not.
no, it's and that's the hardest thing about like when you're young, getting into something like that is like because you don't know, you think you can handle it.
Yeah, exactly. You think that you're hardcore, but you ain't shit until you really really live in Inglewood or Compton or some shit. Like, it's just wild. I don't know. And that's what like it makes you for me, puts me back into perspective. They're like, just like, you think, you know, that you're hardcore and shit, that you're invisible, but not reality. Like, no. You're not.
No.
You're a fucking 100-pound little Mexican girl that people just wonder who the fuck she an alien, like what, like what's going, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Which is
a good segue. So what lane have you been staying in right now? I know you've got the crystals, and I know you. What have you been up to right
now? Just healing. Keep on healing. Trying to like really figure out a balance, definitely, kind of thing. Because there's a lot of shit that you don't know when it comes to running a business, you know, and kind of like we were talking about, like I wasn't raised with the silver spoon, like at all, you know, and until this day I get reminded, like with my mom, like, no, there's no money, and I'm just like, stop saying that, like, because you've been attracting this all my fucking life, and that's why I feel like there's no money coming in. So it's just like working more like on the ancestral karma and breaking those fucking systems, like money systems that have been embedded for so fucking many years, you know. And I was talking to my grandfather the other day, and he El Dia de los Muertos, and he kind of like got upset because we go into it. Well, at least I do. I was like, I hope he doesn't tip my chair right now. But he stopped, like, he literally like completely stopped my Wi-Fi. He like shut that shit down. He was like, you ain't doing shit, honey. And I was like, you don't have to get mad. I'm just saying, like, you have to realize that how you were treated from your mom, you treated my mom, now my mom treated me, and y'all fucking think it's okay. And you keep on saying the same shit that your parents told you, like, oh, if I would fucking treat you like my dad treated me or my mom treated me, it's like, why? Like, if you didn't like it, why are you doing the same? Did it fucking work on you?
Right.
No, it did not. And my mom, like, sometimes she slips on, like, oh, I would always, like, I used to get my ass whipped because I was always speaking my mind. And I'm just like, oh, okay, so when I speak my mind, you're over here, like, trying to whip my ass. Yeah, like.
Then it's like, hey, watch your mouth, man. And you're like.
Oh, I got my ass whipped a lot.
Yeah, likewise.
So, you know, it's just, like, all that stuff. And now that I live with her, it's been a very...
Has she relaxed since you're like an adult now? Like, she doesn't have to raise you? Like, my parents relaxed a little bit. No, I'm seeing where I get it from now. I'm like, oh, this is all your fault. Like,
no, you know, it's more like I'm not I pulled like maybe like an all-nighter, and she's like blowing me up, and I'm like, oh, sorry, my bad, like I have my phone on me, but I only do like once every year, you know, kind of thing. But I'm normally by like 12 o'clock before, I mean, if I get home late, it's because literally I'm leaving a pop-up, I'm working, you know, and I'm not like fucking partying. I can't even drink anymore, I can't do that shit. So now more is like still that like putting like that self-doubt, like, why are you spending all your money on some business? Like, is it even making you money? Like, I hear you, da 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 da, or like, you know, like.
I think that's fear.
Yeah, she has a lot of fear, and that's always been embedded into us, and that's what my sister and I talk, like, because she was raised Catholic, obviously, so we were raised Catholic, so it's a lot of even like body shame too.
Religion, you know? Loves to just make you feel afraid too.
Yeah, no, definitely. So when she'd ask me, she's like, you don't, and I mean respect to anyone, but just like my opinion that she asked me, she's like, you don't believe Jesus Christ is God? And I'm like, I believe there's a God, there's a mighty one, the creator of everything. Jesus was more of a messenger.
Mm-hmm.
He told you, he's telling you a message. And then the same way that you have like 100 Virgin Marys, but it really is all only one. But the way that you say that, like the Virgin Mary represented herself to the people, that's why you have all these, like, so you make up people that don't even exist. I was like, so you kind of like, in the Bible tells you that you should not pray to any saints or anything of statues, but here you are
Praying, yeah.
doing it. I was like, so I just don't understand that. So I cannot agree of what you're saying. I'm just agreeing there's a God and there's a creator and there's love, and I feel people need to fucking just align in their shit and like really realize that. And it's like I always tell people, it's like, dude, like it's simple as this. The only difference between you and I is that you're a male and I'm a female, boy, girl. That's it. But we have the same insights. We have the same, we cut ourselves. It's pretty much the same shit, like just your spirit. And someone showed me a video because we were talking about like reincarnation. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like I'm an old soul, but there's still so much that I need to like learn. And at age 34 right now, I feel like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, there's so much that you need to travel and so you can know a lot more culture, a lot more history, but start with your own culture. Like, I found out that I feel like there's a bee or something in my hair. I feel like I found out that I was Peruvian.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I did a DNA test.
Yeah.
I'm like, that blew my mind. That 0.03 that I come from Southwest Africa did not surprise me. Or even like 1.3 like Asian did not surprise me. But I'm actually more than 50% from like Peru.
Okay.
That was like, and people was like, oh, I see it. I'm like, what the fuck did you see? Like, sorry to say, like, I'm not, with the Incas, I'm not so familiar because I'm Mexican. You think like your roots are in Mexico. But it's like, no. So it's kind of even more like mind-blowing. And before that, though, I was doing some readings. I was doing a lot of like spiritual cleansing too in Peru and ayahuasca. And there's another one that they said that they kept on like, they keep on telling me to let you know about this. Like, they're being persistent. So it's like, okay, I want to go to Peru. And then I do my DNA test and I'm just like, or those were my ancestors, like communicating, like, and I get super happy about stuff like that because you find your connection.
And you find not where you belong, but like where, like, these are your people.
Yeah, and you understand so much. Like, I watched actually so much documentary about, now I watched a lot more about like the Incas, and there's a lot of portals to like the aliens and to the other worlds, and like, and I'm just like, dude, I love it. Like, that's why I'm so attracted. But I did not know that about the Incas and stuff. So, and the way that they build Machu Picchu, and it's just like mind blowing. It's like,
the weirdest thing is like being black. We all put a lot of stock into like usually Egypt. Like, I have Egyptian things that I'll wear, but it's wild. Like, I was in Germany. This guy comes up to me. He's like, we're watching a soccer match, and he goes, "Are you Colombian?" I was like, "No, it was Colombia versus England." I'm like, "Nah." He's like, "Are you English?" "Nah, dude." He's like,
"What are you?"
"You're American." I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Are you black?" And I'm like, "Shit, okay." And I look up, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm black." And
why did he have to get so precise?
This dude puts a big ass hand on my shoulder, and he goes, "Then you are Nigerian today, my friend." And it was like, we just hung out with all the Nigerian dudes, and it was just like, oh, this is how it is. Like, this community,
like, they brings you to the motherland.
Yes, like this international community.
Fucking dope.
When I was in Tokyo, and like you see a black thing, you just throw that head nod, and you're just like, and he throws it back, you're like, oh shit. Like, this is us. Like, this is like worldwide. Like, this is us.
Yeah, and that's so like, that kind of reminded me, of this video that I saw on Instagram. They're like, when the chona hits in Paris, you see all the Mexicans come out, and you see all the Mexicans dancing because you just have to dance to the chona. So you kind of like know those little like tricks or like to call out your people, or you know or recognize your people.
The wildest thing ever. I was watching the Canelo fight, and I was at Golden Margarita, and so I told my mom, Canelo's a fucking hero in Mexico. And she's like, okay, cool. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. Like, he's a like, this is beyond star. He is a hero out there.
He's really for the peeps.
And they turned on, so we're watching the fight, they turned on the music, and everyone in the bar is singing his song to the ring. And I was like, Mom, like, he's a star. Like, this dude is, like, an icon out there. Yeah. And it was crazy because, like, even if you watch that fight, the other dude is an American getting booed in America. You never see that. And there's just so many Mexicans that showed out for Canelo, and I was just like, that's the coolest fucking thing, that whatever beef you have, there's this dude who's been knocking people out for 10 years, and that's, everyone's like, listen, man, I got beef with you, but this fucking guy over here.
Yeah,
like,
we're uniting this one time. No, and it's and that's something that it wows me, that we could come as a community and very supportive to certain events like that. Yeah. But my question is, and I'm just like not trying to like get super real, but I am. It's like we need to unite like that with bigger issues, with real fucking issues. Yes. Like, homeboy, like, I applaud you, and if you do a lot for the community, then that's what you do. But let's use that platform and do, and I mean, like, people, like, we were talking about, like, the Kim Kardashians, like, everybody fucking hates them, but I'm just like, yo, you know what, I'm not gonna lie, like, you can't fucking hate on the businesswoman. It's like, you can't. Like, Kim is doing a lot of shit for, like, the law and awareness.
I did notice she's been doing more of that, and I'm actually very interested in seeing how that goes.
And, I mean, for me, it's like, she has a platform. She uses it. And what wows me more, it's like, dude, how the fuck do you balance?
Yeah, for real.
All your multiple fucking, your skims, your fragrance. You just came out with new one. You did a collaboration with Fendi that fucking sold out within like maybe 30 minutes. Like, I had my alarm and I slept through it. And I didn't even like, I was just like, oh, okay, they all sold out. But anyways, but yeah, it's just, for me, it's like, at the end of the day, like, if I want to be like, I mean, of course, they have some help. Oh, yeah. Obviously, like, I'm not gonna like shy away from that. Like, I'm giving them credit.
It helps when your dad defended O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, like, if you're already in that type of world, and then plus, like, you're hanging out with Paris Hilton, yeah, like, and then you did the sex, you know what I'm saying? Like, you wiggle, you wait. Listen, and Mom,
she parlayed that sex tape better than anyone else I've ever seen. People forget that thing exists.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why we're here, type of thing.
Like, do y'all remember how she got started? Like, do y'all remember how she got famous? And everybody's like, it was a fucking sex tape. It was a fucking sex tape. Like,
yeah.
But hey, listen, man, get it how you live. Get it how you live, man. If you were able to come out of that, like, yo, you did one tape of what you were already doing.
You know what, though? That's another thing, too. Homegirl has fucking thick skin. Because I've seen, like, red carpets that she's been, like, dumped. Like, powder, like the white, like the whatever for like PETA or whatever, like protesters, and they go in and dump shit on her, and then she just goes to literally dust off her shit and just comes back like, hey y'all, like, and I'm like, dude, that is what's up.
When you look at who, again, sports and music fan here, when you look at who the Kardashians have been with, it's like guys who have gotten shit on their entire career. Kanye, Travis Scott, Reggie Bush, just like list person after person. I'm like, these are guys that you're catching a lot of, Lamar Odom, these are guys that you're catching a lot of heat for, because they're like, oh, it's your fault that Reggie Bush fell off. And it's like, it's the NFL's fault for actually not letting him do this and this, but we're not going to talk about that. Like,
yeah, they don't blame it on them.
Right, like, if we're actually talking about why Reggie Bush failed, it's because he got drafted to a team that didn't know how to use him, but whatever, man. But I'm not necessarily a huge Kardashian fan, but like, can we stop, like,
pointing fingers?
Can we stop can we stop shitting on women for their men?
Yeah, amen to that. Definitely.
Like,
It's not their responsibility.
There's been like only like 2 times where I can ever be like, yeah, no, that was a woman's fault. And it's like it's not nearly as often. Like, if a dude has a bad game, we can't be like, well, look who he's dating. It's like, no, it doesn't matter.
I think that's so hilarious. Because obviously I kept up with the Kardashians. So I would listen, like, oh, I can't go to, like, so-and-so's game because they said I'm, bad luck or whatever. Or just, like, shit like that.
Now, I do believe that
I don't know.
Partners can be a distraction to the team. But is that more the fault of the partner or the team?
That's a partner.
You know what I mean?
I feel like, well, I mean, it's...
If having Kim Kardashian on the sideline is distracting you, maybe you're not that good.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it just depends on the player. Like, you need to be fucking focused. Like,
that's why I knew that Chris Humphries wasn't going to last. Well, yo, this trash-ass NBA player who's like a 72 on 2K, you think he's going to last? Nah.
For me, I just couldn't believe that that's who she was marrying.
I was like, no, this shit's fucked.
Right, you know what I mean? Like, that's one of the things that I was like, huh. Now, like, Kanye was like, I mean, they both, like, love each other. I mean, themselves. You know what I mean? So it's like...
We gotta...
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't, like, for what I've seen and kind of, it's like, I don't know. It's just...
I love Kanye.
He has good music, like...
My guy. You gotta chill, bro.
Sometimes in his fucking rants, I'm just
you
like...
gotta chill, go.
What happened? What? How did we get here? Kind of like Kevin Hart when one of his stand-up comedies that he's talking to someone from, like, the hood and the way that they speak... He's like, and next thing you know, he's like, and he's dead. And he's like, wait, what? Yeah. I lost the whole conversation. Yeah. Like, did I just witness? Oh, shit. Did I just witness a murder? Like, I didn't even know.
Like, maybe, yeah.
So I'm just like, wait, what? What? I feel that's how he handles a lot of the stuff.
And
like,
the fact
wait,
that...
what?
I feel bad for Kim because Kim has so much going on. And, like, now she has to be the foundation for fucking Kanye. Like, arguably the biggest pop star in the world.
Like, I don't know.
And maybe Drake, too, depending on rumors. The whole thing's a mess. Like,
I don't know anything about Drake.
I wouldn't fuck with... If I was a chick, I'm not fucking with Drake. There's too much...
I like his old shit, and I'm just like... Do you think that you're Puerto Rican / Dominican /
Jamaican, African... Like, yo, stop it.
Like...
You're from Canada, dude.
I don't even.
You had a bar mitzvah, my guy. Like,
you got a bar mitzvah. Let it go.
You had a bar mitzvah. Chill.
So
I know that your uncle and your dad were like pioneers of funk, but also like chill. Pioneers of funk. They were Drake's dad was a bassist on like this old funk group, and I was like, dope. Also, Drake, chill. Relax, man.
Don't try to take credit for something. Yeah, it's very wild out there, for sure. Most important thing, stay in your fucking lane. Stay in your fucking lane.
Might be the title of this podcast.
Stay in your fucking lane at the end, Just heal yourself. Try to do that shadow work, especially right now. I don't never use a whole, like, New Year, New Me, because same fucking bullshit, just a different day. Like, you become the better you the next day, like, or every day, or by the minute. Like, that's how you grow, and don't be afraid of change either. Like, that shit is fucking scary, but I mean, that's why we all live in sin, because Adam and Eve took that bite of knowledge. Actually, really quick, I watched only just one episode, and it kind of reminded me of that. It's only on Apple. I don't have Apple, so that's why I only saw one, like, episode. It's called See, like the verb, like.
Oh,
see.
yeah. I've been meaning to watch that.
And kind of, like, not to blow it, because you're going to watch it, and I just saw just one episode, but they're up in, like, society, like, enhanced, I don't know, like, how many in the future, like, how many years, but human society lost their sight. So they're actually more intuitive, like, they're able to see things, like, through their, like, their eye and stuff. Like, that's what I was getting from, And they live out in the wilderness, they're like, they fight. But there's actually humans out there that are able still to see. And it's such a, like, a whole trip, like, because they think they're not able to see, they don't know if it's real. So they don't know to trust it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when they communicated one time, they were talking to this person, and they're like, wait, how do you know all this? It's like, well, what could we call you? What's your name? It's like, I'm Vision, because it was a human that I was able to see, but they don't know exactly because they never like touched or never like
Right.
it was just kind of like trusting that faith, I guess, or
Right.
whatever. But anyways, weird shit, like this kid is born and he's kind of like the one, kind of like Jesus type of thing, you know, like he was the one, so they're looking for him. But someone tells the father, quote unquote, you know, then you'll find that out why I say quote unquote. They tell him, like, you need to go up to this mountain, you'll find a box. And they're like, what's in the box? And they're like, it's full of knowledge. He's like, it's going to help you with your born child, like, to change the generations and things like that, you know? So he goes there, but they have, like, this other lady, like, another, like, bruja, you know, like, and she tells a future, so or she knows, it's trippy, you just have to, like, watch it.
I will, I definitely will.
But they
'Cause that sounds
open,
fire.
yeah, no, it is, and they open the box, and it's books.
But they can't read because they can't see.
But there's some, like, yeah. So it's kind of like, wait, so who could see? I'm not sure if the other lady was able to see. I think she's still blind, though. I don't know. That was the thing, but...
We'll find a way to watch it.
I don't know. It was just like, it was such a... But if you really think about it, though, they're speaking on shit that is happening right now.
Yeah.
Because they are getting rid of books. They're hiding information. And then they're trying to take away your sight, like your power and shit, you know? So there are only certain ones that are going to have that true knowledge because your vision, you know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know. For me, it's like, if you're woke, you fucking understand all the hidden messages. There's so many hidden messages. Like,
there's so much shit out there that, like, and the
I
hard
love
thing,
it.
the only hard thing is making sure that you're not being lied to, looking too deep.
No, for me, it's just kind of
that's
like,
the hard, and I'm not saying you, but like,
yeah,
in general, I think sometimes people look so hard that
definitely.
it's like, no, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And some things aren't, and like, but that's the thing.
Just
like,
be aware of your
be aware.
surroundings.
Exactly.
And that's what it is. Like, for me, it was like, that makes sense. You know, like, the books are going away.
Yeah.
And it's a knowledge that, and they were all Dr. Seuss.
Oh, really?
Because he has a lot of good messages there. I mean, if you look at Lorax, hello. If you look at The Grinch, hello. Like, is this, like, actual
there is real shit there.
Facts.
A lot of that is the product. Here's the funny thing about the Dr. Seuss thing. Some of that is the product of its time. Like, when you read some of the stuff, you're like, ugh, that's not great. Like, that doesn't look great. But also, and this is the funny thing about, like, people are like, oh, they're banning these books. It's like, no, the family's like, hey, that doesn't look great. We're not going to do this anymore. And I think that's the fun part too, is that, like, don't, like you said, don't be afraid of change. Don't stunt that growth. Like, listen, there's some
gamble on yourself. It's easier said than done. Let me tell you that much.
I got a whole podcast about that. So we got to bounce.
It is hot.
Do you have anything else to plug? Anything that we should know about?
No, just be better human. Be kind and loving. One love.
Sounds good. Yo, we gotta do a part 2 one of these days, but
yeah,
for Jacqueline Trevino. Oh, where can they see you? Like, where's your Instagram, social media?
Wonders with Skin, or Jacqueline Trevino, but you don't even know me how I look like, so just follow me on Instagram, Jacqueline's Wonderland too. You know, you can find me there. It's my personal account.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. It was awesome being around. Definitely gotta do a part 2 one of these days.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot.
We might have to do a part 3, part 4. Listen, for Jacqueline Trevino, thank you so much. It's Braven the Grown Up Kid. Thank you for listening. We will see you next time I actually get around to recording.